The Supreme Court will soon unveil the final decisions from this term and the most consequential cases it heard over the past 7 months, and will define precedent for years to come. Here's what to know about the major cases that are still awaiting decisions. The first is whether Trump is immune from prosecution related to allegedly subverting the 2020 election. If Trump wins complete immunity, it would bring an end to the 2020 election subversion case in Washington, D.C. If the Supreme Court sides with special counsel Jack Smith, the proceedings could resume. The next case could decide whether federal prosecutors properly charged hundreds of January 6 defendants, including Trump, using a law that makes it a crime to obstruct or impede an official proceeding. A ruling against the Justice Department could affect half the charges against Trump and the cases of hundreds of January 6 defendants. And it has the chance to result in numerous revised sentences for already convicted defendants. In one of the two big cases on abortion, the court will decide whether to overturn Food and Drug Administration guidelines for distributing an abortion pill by mail and telemedicine. The second on abortion is whether federal law mandating emergency stabilizing care overrides Idaho's near-total abortion ban. The Supreme Court's impending decision in the cases could have significant implications for the 2024 elections, in which abortion has become a leading concern and driving force for Democrats. A pair of homeless people sued the city of Grant Pass when Oregon issued ordinances against outdoor sleeping and camping. The High Court will decide if this violates the Eighth Amendment protections against cruel and unusual punishment. Typically, the Eighth Amendment is evoked to protect against punishments, not laws. Another case will decide if Florida and Texas can stop social media companies from removing posts based on their views. The court appears divided on the extent to which content moderation should be allowed. On one hand, they saw government-enforced moderation as questionable, particularly if it focused on content. On the other hand, they criticized the power exerted by big tech companies. Next is whether the Biden administration's efforts to counter misinformation amounts to censorship, and whether state and individual plaintiffs have standing to bring a lawsuit. The case centers on the Biden administration allegedly telling social media platforms to censor online viewpoints unconstitutionally, including conservative ideas and online posts about COVID-19. The NRA is suing a former New York official for punishing the group economically for its pro-gun stance, saying discouraging business partnerships is a violation of the First Amendment. The family who owns Purdue Pharma have offered $6 billion to settle thousands of lawsuits, alleging they fueled the opioid epidemic. The issue at play here is whether a bankruptcy settlement shielding the family from liability is legal. In this case, the court will decide if the former Trump administration's bump stock ban was lawful. The rule went into effect in 2019, forcing bump stock owners to surrender their devices or else face stiff fees and a felony carrying up to 10 years in prison.